There. Alright, now we should have audio. Oh god, I almost forgot to mute Twitch in the background. That would have been bad.
Just double up audio.
Yeah. Alright. Oh, it's been a long time since I've done live streaming, but for those of you who are here, I'm gonna be doing some level design and modeling stuff for Cat Warfare, and you guys get to watch and ask questions and all that fun stuff. And I'm also joined here by the Cat Warfare announcer. Do you want to say himself or herself? I've never actually...
Well, I identify as a girl, so I identify as she, her, so yeah, her. But yeah, hello.
Alright, well, if I ever do slip up and say him or he, just... I'm sorry.
That's fine,
It's habit.
I get it, I get it.
But yeah, I'm joined by the Cat Warfare announcer.
Hang on. D3!
Hell yeah. So with this map here, this is what the map is currently in the game for Cat Warfare, and over the past 2 or 3 days, I've been going through and creating this beautiful thing. Completely changed everything about it. The same layout, generally. A few things have been changed in terms of gameplay to keep things moving smoothly. Like this little ledge here that will have the sniper and stuff will no longer have a direct passage to it. It will actually be done once I get some models and some stuff in here in this corner. There will be a jump part that will actually do a jump pad up to the top of this here. So you'll actually get full access to this upper area without having to do any like weird jumps or tricks, but you can still do a rocket jump up here if you so please.
Oh, and by the way, just to remind people watching, if you have any questions, if it's not too personal, like, you know, if it's related to the game or maybe like history, if you have any questions related to Cat Warfare, not so classic games, whatever, don't be afraid to, you know, ask them and we'll give you an answer.
Yep. And if we can't give you an answer, probably means your question is really, really tough for us.
Yeah. It's like, why did you make Cat Warfare?
Good question.
That's a good question.
Many people would say, many people would say just because it's cats, but I would say because I can. So, you know.
Yeah, it's a very just because. It's like why I made my own cat game per category. It was just because. Which is funny because that's also the game that inevitably actually got us to meet together. Because, you know, oh, someone else is working on a cat-based game. We should be friends with them.
I think that was back in the Game Jolt era, when Cat was on Game Jolt.
Yeah, it was, because it wasn't even public yet. Because if I remember correctly, it became public in July, and when Nick found the game page, it was still the builds were still private, and then you sent us a key so we could play it before the first public release.
Man, good times. It's just wild to think too, because even looking back, I remember I wanted to do like the Unreal Tournament style announcer and stuff, and I didn't actually have anyone do that until like way later.
It's still funny that every single major release of the game has had not even the same. For the first two, it's been the same lines, but not the same recordings. It's insane to think that.
Yeah. To be fair, too, the older Cat Warfare announcer voice was mine, which sounded... at the time, I was pretty young, and trying to make my voice deeper automatically was not the best idea, because it sounded very monotone. So that didn't really work out, and it just sounded really dumb.
I think I actually remember that. though my memory might be a bit hazy. I think I do remember hearing like, "You've lost the match."
I hate the fact that you're pretty spot on with that. Yeah. That's basically how it was. It was just super monotone.
Yeah. I mean, even when we did that, what was it called again? Battle for the Server. It's
Dude,
funny.
I actually almost forgot about that, yeah.
Yeah, hell, even Kim did a better job with voice acting, and you were
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
acting like this, just like this was your character. You were acting like this.
But yeah, I chalk it up to being, you know, I blame it on me not having a lower voice back then because I was like super self-conscious about that. And I tried so hard to get a lower voice even though it wasn't really worth it. It just made it
To be
sound
fair,
worse.
I mean, to be fair, the reason that I became a voice actor, and the thing that makes me quote unquote so good at voice acting, you know, in my own way, is because if someone tells me, "Wow, you sound terrible," I don't really take it to heart because it's just like I tried my best, and sure, like I listened back to some voices that I did in because I did play 2 characters in Battle for the Server, and the one character, the rando, like my character with my name was literally just my voice. But I remember trying to do this voice for the other, and I'm like,
I think
I
they
listen
called him
back
like
to that, and I'm like,
Soldier 1 or something.
yeah, and I do listen back to that, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that was bad, and I think I even tried to. I tried to do a bit of a nasally voice. It wasn't even that good. It was like this. I was trying to do this kind of voice. Like if I do a nasally voice these days, it's more like this. Like this is my nasally voice. So you can hear like it's a lot better because I've actually been practicing. Like that's the thing. Again, anyone in the audience who wants to become a voice actor, don't be afraid what other people think. The only judge that should ever judge your voice is yourself. If you think the voice is bad, improve.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty spot on. Like, and I can definitely say that from my experience, I looked back at some of the older Cat Warfare builds, and I thought to myself, like nowadays, I would look at and I would be like, hey, these suck. But then, you know, I think back when I was working on the game back then, I thought it was a banger, dude. I thought it was like the best thing in the world. But nowadays, you look at it and it's like, not really. It really sucks.
I mean, that is the thing. Like what I just said with being your own judge. It's like you can take other people's opinions. Like if you say like, if I did that nasally voice and someone said, "Oh, I didn't really like it. Could you make it a bit more Boston-y?" And I'd be like, "Okay, I'll try with a more Boston accent." That's that at that point. Like if someone's genuinely saying like they like the voice, but maybe it'd be better with this. That's when you start taking more advice, and that's also a thing with game development as well. It's like if you make a game all by yourself, you do all the modeling and programming and everything. You look at it and you think, "Wow, this is really good." And then it's like someone else will play it as you said, people will be like, "Wow, it sucks." Or it's like when I was running around, what was it called, Crossroads in like the old alpha.
Yeah, that's classic.
And it's like, I'm thinking you were probably like, "Oh yeah, this is a really good map," and then I'm zooming out the map in like spectator mode, and I'm like, one, why are these walls like intersecting? It's like there's just random unused wall outside of the boundary. It's not like a single square. And then you look at the wall texture, and it's like every single time you look at it, it's genuinely like blinding white.
I was also about to say, like, yeah, those walls were way too bright for what they were.
And that's the thing. Criticism, that's the thing with criticism. You should always know when to take it. Again, I still stand by being your own judge as well. But again, if someone, I don't know how to explain this. Again, if someone is giving you criticism, you should make sure it's not just your voice sounds terrible,
Yeah,
or it's like
it should
stop
be
doing.
more on par to, okay, well, if they don't like it, then why? Always ask the question why.
Yeah, and if they can't give you an answer, again, it's the same with game development. If they can't tell you why they don't like something, they don't like the map because of this and this and that. They don't like the video because of this and that. If they just say I don't like it, just don't let it get to you.
Exactly.
But obviously, having someone else look at something genuinely critically, like again with that old Crossroads map, what you may think in the moment is really, really good, later, years later, as you said, will be just terrible.
Yeah, it definitely was disheartening to really look back and realize, yeah, this stuff was garbage, and people even said it was garbage at the time. And you know, I took criticism well back then. I could definitely say, but I had to learn the hard way. It definitely wasn't something that was easy in terms of like, oh well, you know, what you're working on is basically the best terms to put it is it's like your child. You gotta build it up. You gotta give it all these resources and time, and then someone can easily just come by and say, "Hey, this sucks." And all of that time and effort, you start questioning yourself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing with again, as I said, you say it sucks, but it's like, why does it suck? Because I've had times when I've genuinely had people with like coming into my YouTube comments and telling me that I look ugly or I sound ugly, I sound terrible, and it's like it doesn't help. But I've also had people who have genuinely like said, "Oh, the audio is bad," and they even gave me an idea like, oh, maybe put like a blanket up on like the fireplace to muffle the audio or something. Because they thought,
Mm.
oh, maybe this person couldn't get a microphone, so just muffle the audio somehow. They were giving me hints. They weren't just there to, you know, be annoying. They were there to because they wanted to see me improve.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think most people, I would definitely say most people that are humble would want to see others improve.
Oh yeah.
I'm honestly impressed how these cables turned out. I thought they were gonna look bad, but um, not it's not bad. The UV mapping I did on that actually flows pretty nicely there. Especially the fact
Actually,
that
how many
my UV mapping kind of sucks sometimes.
how many people are in the chat right now, or how many people are watching? Because I can't see.
We've got the. Why is it not showing for me? Hold on. Uh, 4. Woo!
4 people, yay!
Yes, we are game dev. We do game. We do good.
Well, you do game, and I give stupid ideas.
Hey, that's the best way to do it, really.
I mean, that's the thing. I've always been told that I make pretty good stories. Not to toot my own horn. I really don't mean to toot my own horn, but I've always been told, "Oh yeah, you can make a pretty good story." But it's like when you're making a game, story should be the last thing you're thinking of.
I mean, I think. Well, I mean, give or take. It depends on what you're working on, because sometimes story is the first thing you want to do.
No, honestly, in my personal opinion, when it comes to game development, it should be gameplay first. You should have the absolute base gameplay
Well, oh yeah,
first.
yeah, for sure, yeah.
Because you could have a game with an amazing story, fantastic, gripping, thrilling, tear jerking, but if the game is unbalanced, broken, it's like nobody will care about the story. They would just be like, why is this a game and not just like a short movie on YouTube or something?
Yeah.
You're making a game, not a video. So it's like I'm very much like an ideas person. I mean, hell, even the cat tags. It's like literally the only thought in my head when it came to the cat tags was dog tags, because of course, like, wartime with dog tags, because it's an actual thing. Like like, say if someone dies in an explosion, I'm also saying this more for chat as well, if someone dies in an explosion and their body is burnt black beyond recognition, they have these little metal things around their necklace, on their necklaces, and it's like, it has their name, so it'd be like, oh, okay, this was John Johnson, and he died from an explosion. That was literally my only...
If my name was John Johnson, I'd probably want to die.
But yeah, like, that was my only idea, because, cats obviously have the tags on their collars. I mean, some have bells, but it's usually a tag. And it's like, yeah, that was like, literally my...
It's basically their name tag.
Exactly. That, in fact, name tag, dog tags, and it's like, it's literally the exact same thing as a dog tag. Except it's not meant for if the cat dies. It's more... Whatever, you know what I mean? That was literally my only joke. It was just like, hey, we could have some generic coins, but I was like, what about cat tags instead? Oh, you steal them from the opponents, like, in, like, spoils of war. That was my only... It was a pun.
I mean, that pun went a far distance, so,
I mean, I'm pretty sure even the XP was my idea as well. Because, I mean, I don't want to take... I mean, you probably had it in your head, but you probably had it in your head at some point, but I was just like, wow, we really need people to keep coming back to the game, because before the cat tags and the XP and everything, there wasn't really a reason to keep coming back to the game.
To be fair, the older versions of the game, I mean, hell, I want to say like maybe the first or second version that was on Game Jolt, it didn't even have a timer or a leaderboard. It was just spawn in, shoot each other, and that's it. That was the whole basis of Cat Warfare back then.
I checked the Discord server at one point, and someone mentioned like, oh, now I have more things to spend my cat tags on, and I'm just like, that exactly.
Yeah. No, I even saw that too, and I was like, yep, that is amazing to see. Whenever people are like, hey, I can spend my hard-earned cat tags on the new gear and stuff.
When you have everything unlocked from the start, it's boring. It's like you have nothing to work towards. You just oh, it's enabled now. Good.
Yeah.
Which is why I was pretty happy when I saw that.
It's always a good day whenever you see people excited about the game.
Yeah. By the way, I'm pretty sure at one point in development, I thought of the idea of like... Didn't I think of the idea of like leveling giving you different things? Like, oh, you level up and you unlock like random items. I think that was an idea I came up with, but it would never made it into the game. Like a kind of level up, you get 2 random items.
Yeah, I mean that concept actually almost made it into this version of Cat Warfare, but I ultimately decided against it because right now in the game there's like 150 something level or 120 something levels, and I did not want to go through and create all these different items per level, as it would just simply take too long.
Yeah, and what I'm also thinking of is like when you get even one random item, it's like that kind of defeats the purpose of the cat tags, because you get cat tags every single kill or score or whatever. So it's like if you get a random item every single level, doesn't that like, let's say for example, oh, I leveled up to level 50 and I got a random item, but by the time you've leveled up from level 49 to 50, you already have enough cat tags to buy like 5 items already.
Oh yeah, it's the one thing that I've also thought about is with the lost my train of thought. The cat tag system, at least right, I do feel is a little. I wouldn't say forgiving, but it's very giving, I should say, because even right now, like I'm at level 50 something, I think, and I have 500 something, 500,000 cat tags. So, and I basically have so many cat tags that I can't even. I can spend all of them on every new set that comes out and not have any worry at all. So
I mean, yeah, as well with me, it's like I think I checked at one point. I had like, I don't know how many I had. I think I had like 20,000 or something, and out of all that, I could buy like 10, 20 items, and I'm just like, there's so much that I can buy. So yeah, it kind of does eventually get a bit too much, and it's like there's not really enough to spend on. The most you can do is just up the price, but with the amount of cat tags that you get, that'll eventually just you'll eventually get that amount and just buy it, and now you have the item. Cool. To be honest, that's why I'm thinking as well. What we could do, what you could do is, I keep saying we. I mean, technically, you could argue I'm technically part of the dev team because technically, even though I'm more of a freelancer, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That there could be some kind of like a submission for like if you bring back like the skin editor, you could have people like create skins and then upload them as like JSON files and be like, hey, what about this being added to the game? And then people would vote, hey, this is a good skin, I like it, and then it gets added to the game. Like a community section. Something to give back to the players instead of having these, let's be honest, random, like, I mean, technically, someone could literally just say, hey, add this to the game, and you'd probably do it anyway, so...
I mean, since the game and the community is relatively at a point where it's small enough to basically hear everyone's voice, it's the easiest thing to do. But I'm sure that once the community does start growing, I can't even English, but basically my point is when the community grows big enough, I'm not going to be able to do that as often. I won't be able to just up and be like, oh yeah, that sounds cool, let's do that. And so that's why I want to do it now, so then when the community does inevitably grow big enough, I'll be able to do it to an extent, but not nearly as much as I'm able to now. Also, another note to every model that I make that involves little things, I'll actually hide Easter eggs in a lot of my stuff. But let's see. I'm gonna type it out real quick.
Are you gonna show the wall? The wall that you showed me pre-stream?
I'm honestly gonna have people just find that one on their own, because I think that one would be pretty fun. But most of the models I make has this beautiful text. Does not support yarn, or don't put yarn in it, or even with the spawn, the weapon spawners, it says doesn't spawn yarn, I think. And it's been an on-running joke with almost every model and texture that I make for the game.
I mean, another running joke in Cat Warfare is probably Spenny Tuna.
Yeah. Actually, that does remind me. There is on the to-do list that I keep looking at, but I haven't really planned it out yet.
Although the thing is, she changed her name to Maya, so yeah.
I mean, yeah, but it's still pretty funny, the fact that Spenny Tuna was the thing for a while. And I think that actually spun out of, based on a joke, because we were in a Skype call together, and they were looking at the health that I had, because it was just generic tuna cans. And I think someone in the call said something along the lines of like, hey, what about Spenny Tuna, because, you know, it has a nice ring to it. And at the time, I was like, you know what, that sounds pretty good. Well, might as well. And so that's kind of where that came from.
Yeah, because the health pickup used to be tuna. What are they now again?
They're now like the orbs and stuff. They're more gameplay friendly in terms of describing what they are. But
yeah, because a lot of people were apparently confused.
In terms of that, though, I do have on my to-do list to make a level that is a deathmatch map that is a tuna can factory of spinning tuna cans. And that's kind of how I'm going to commemorate the Spinny Tuna to keep it in the game, even though they're not actually the health pickups anymore.
Oh, what's the name of the Chinatown map again? Wasn't it Mao?
That's the control map. The Chinatown map, I think, is just called Downtown. I didn't really give it much of a... I wasn't very creative with that name. I'm gonna be real on that one.
Well, to be honest, I know for a fact that ages and ages and ages and ages ago, you showed me this like really, really early map, and it had this like building, I think it was Out of Bounds, and it had the Spinny Tuna logo on it, and I was like, because at the time I was playing Shadow Warrior Classic, and I was like, oh, you know what would be fun if we had like a Chinatown map. And I didn't even have an idea of what would be in the Chinatown map. I literally just had the idea of a Chinatown map.
Yeah. I will say though, the Downtown map, oddly enough, has actually been my favorite out of all the levels so far. Even though that map was, it wasn't the best design level, but it was actually one of the first levels that were properly blocked out. Compared to most of them.
Wasn't there a Reggie Fils-Aimé quote where it's like, I forgot the quote. What was it? If it's not fun, why bother? I completely forgot the quote, but it was basically that. Like, if it's not fun, why bother?
I mean, that's relatively spot on, quite honestly. And
it is.
I don't think I've really had a moment where I thought to myself that a certain point of the game was not fun. But there was a point where the game was entirely unbalanced back in 2018 version of Cat Warfare, and that became crazy unfun because the rockets would duplicate and basically insta-kill you regardless of where it hit you.
Wasn't there a time at one point, I don't know if this was like a debug mode, but I'm pretty sure I remember at one point you went into like the Unity editor and you like altered the amount of times the rocket would explode, and you just fired it and it was like it's constantly exploding in fire.
I even have a dev video showing like firing the rockets so fast that it just litters the map filled with them. That does remind me, there was a time, there was a really bad bug in Cat Warfare back in 2017 or 18, where if you fired a rocket, it would fire, but the moment it collided with something, it would immediately be destroyed. And then on the server, it doesn't get destroyed, so it's stuck in memory. And after playing like a 30-minute match or so, you have almost, like, if you're shooting the rockets all over the place, you have almost about, 100, 200 rockets stuck in memory, constantly trying to call to destroy. And the game basically came to a crashing halt of like 5 frames a second every single time. And I never found out about that bug until like months after someone pointed it out, because then I was able to replicate it. It was a scary time.
There's a chance that I've probably seen that myself, but I probably don't remember it because, again, that was so long ago. 6 years. It's like 6-7 years ago.
Man, it's just crazy to think about how long ago that was.
I mean, we met in 2016, like early 2016,
That is true. Damn.
Pretty nutty.
I have a small pipe.
You know, I'm just imagining what was going on your end when you suddenly got a friend request or a message from just a completely random person saying, "Hey, me and friend are working on another cat game. You want to be friends?" Or whatever he said to you. Just like, oh.
I'm kind of curious if... Because I don't exactly remember my response, but I do know that it was somewhere along the lines of, like, me being surprised. I was like, oh, cool, you guys are making cat game too. Alright. And then I think I checked it out and did play it. I played it at that point, and I even thought it was pretty cool at the time. And it was just really nice to see other people making a cat game that wasn't, you know, just your generic, walk around kind of simulator.
I mean, to be honest, Purgatory is pretty terrible.
I mean, well, again, like, even for me, I actually think it's kind of a fun little game, but, you know, that goes back to the whole argument of it's all a point of view kind of thing.
I mean, it also goes back to the point where you were mentioning looking back in your old games, or whatever you were saying.
Yeah.
Because it's like, that was the first time me and Nick worked together, but to be honest, he literally just sent me a bunch of code that he made, and then I tried to slap it together into a game. And then the next time we worked together, we were like directly working together, both pushing commits to GitHub. If there was an issue, I told him there was an issue. He was pretty much there live fixing it. I pushed it to mine, and then like, oh, there's another issue. Fix it. So at that point, we're working directly together, and we made a pretty good game out of it. So now I can look back at Purgatory properly and realize it's a bad game, but it's hard to hate it because, again, it was literally how you, me, and Nick all met.
Yeah.
So it really is hard to hate it.
I hope I can find more spots to place these pipes in to make it not look so repetitive. Okay, do that. Yeah, the good news is the reflections are actually looking good. Does not support the yarn. Yeah, there's like some on a lot of the other models too. There's like fan control stuff. There's also just generic things here and there. But let's see. I think it's on the actual.
I'll just remind people. Just another reminder. Daniel and I are currently streaming.
Yippee.
We're also doing a little Q&A if you're interested. Wink.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting I can actually bump all these textures back up to 2K because I have the texture streaming stuff going. But there you go, yeah. On the weapon spawners, it even says does not spawn yarn. That's a little ongoing thing that happens a lot.
Also, I still remember those old builds with the pistol, which I don't think ever left version 1.
Yeah, that version was very short-lived, from my knowledge.
Well, if we're counting everything from the very, very beginning in like late 2015, to Steam release as version 1, then yeah, that would have been about, well, that's 2 months technically, so I believe you moved to version 2 in 2000 and, was it 18 or 19?
It would probably have been, I want to say maybe 19.
So it would have been about 3 years.
Because, yeah, 2019 is when 2019 was when I started development on, version 2 of Cat Warfare, which would have been the slightly newer cats, not the, what's it called? Not the ugly 3D cats, but the, slightly less ugly 3D cats. The best way to describe them.
I mean, I have names for pretty much all the cats. Like, I would need to think of a name for the, because I'm pretty. Were there two versions of the smooth cats? Like, not the current cats. Weren't there 2 versions, or was it the same? Was it the same kind of model base for both versions? Like from version 1, 2, and 3.
I'm not too sure on that one. I never really thought about that. But I do know that, what was it? One of the cat models, like the ones that look like a pig, you know, like the weird pig nose and stuff.
I don't think I remember.
It was the 2018 version cats, is what I can remember. That's usually what they went by, or what they were referenced from.
I mean, the names that I usually go with is like classic Blocky Cat, which is the one with the wide open eyes. Blocky Cat, which is the version that I started playing Cat Warfare with, which is on with the angry eyes. Then there's the Smooth Cat, which is pretty much the one used for the base of pretty much every high poly model. And then what I like to just call the real cats, which are the current models, because they look more like real, not real cats. So they look more. Actually, no, they look more realistic than the smooth model. But let's just call it the. I don't know, catnip cats, something like that. I don't know.
I think because this versions would be considered Project Felines.
Felines, sorry, Felines.
Yeah, so
that's catnip is version 2. Oops.
Yeah, well, yeah, Project Catnip's version 2. So Cat Warfare's been through 3 different remaster iterations, but
2.
Version 1,
the original, then the Catnip, then Felines. It's been through 2 remasters and then 1 original build.
Oh yeah. So we would be right now in version 3, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, we're in version 3.
That's weird to think about.
It is. Like when I first found, well, technically Nick found the game, but when we first started playing the game, me and Nick rather, I never thought it would go further past, like, maybe a Steam release, and then like never again, like nothing else.
Yeah,
well, 6 years later.
Ultimately, yeah, that's kind of what a lot of people thought, which I don't blame them. Cat Warfare is one of those weird games that for some reason just keeps going, even though I do my best to step away from it sometimes because I want to just do something else. But then after I do that, a bunch of people find the game somehow and then start playing it a lot, and then now I have to go through and be like, all right, well, let's ramp it back up again. Let's keep it going.
I'm pretty sure after version 1, you Well, I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure after version 1, like you basically said, like, "Oh, I'll do a few updates and then I'll just leave it because I'm sick of working on this game." Like you would just release it out of early access, maybe have a few patches, and then just leave it. I'm pretty sure that is what you said, something like that.
Yeah, that's what the plan originally was, and then I think at the time Ricky found the game back in December 20. I want to say 2020, maybe 2021.
Ricky Berwick, by the way, for those who don't know.
Yeah, somewhere around there. But after he did that, me and a few of the guys on the team were like, well, damn, we gotta go back to the game and, actually start doing stuff with it because people are going to start playing it more. And ultimately, that's what happened. People actually started playing the game a lot more.
You know, it's funny when I'm in this server and I see people saying, like, "Oh, I can't find the game," and I'm just like, "Oh yeah, you should have been here from the very beginning. It was literally genuinely impossible to find another match."
Yeah.
Like, the only times that I ever played this game, the only times when I ever could play this game, was when I had someone with me, because there was never any just random servers. Nowadays, at least, you can at least see one server maybe every day. At least. If not one day, then the next day. If not the next day after that, the next day after that. You can at least expect to see at least one server up every 1 to 2 days. Back then, that was never the case.
The game definitely is way more active than it was before, which is pretty nice.
Oh, definitely.
But it also does require a lot more upkeep and work to get things to keep things smoothly flowing. So,
yeah, a game that started off as, "Hey, that might be fun to do," and then you just did it as a joke, became quite literally your most popular game.
I mean, the game started out. I even have the whole history and stuff listed out on the website. But the game actually did start out just as a
hide and seek game, yeah.
Yeah, it was a hide and seek game, but it also was more so a joke more than anything in terms of the way the game was designed. Because at first it was gonna be what's the word? It was going to be very heavily inspired by TF2 and stuff. So it was going to be a class-based cat game. But
I do remember at one point you did. Sorry to interrupt you, but I do remember at one point you had the multiple characters thing, which eventually became the character customization. You even gave each character a name.
Yeah. And ultimately, I remember exactly what it was, but ultimately the game then shifted towards more of a Call of Duty type style, and then shifted to its final form of a Rin shooter. So the game has gone through a lot of different design iterations just by the pure fact that I didn't know what it was going to be. All I had, I kid you not, all the game was called Cat Game. I knew it was going to be a game with cats. And I knew it was going to be a first-person shooter. That's it.
You realize you realize I have played the second pre-alpha with you, right?
Yeah.
It's I actually remember when the game was called just Cat Game, and the original title screen, which was literally hide and seek or whatever.
It's also
that was 2019, by the way.
Damn. Was it?
When we went back to it, to that old
yeah, that's right. That's right. Man. So long ago.
It really was. It really does feel like it just happened yesterday, or maybe a few weeks ago. And then you remember, nope, that was 2019.
That's crazy to think about.
Yep. In fact, I think at that point, I don't even think version 2 was even out at that point.
Yeah, I don't think it was.
Because in fact, I genuinely don't even think it was, because I remember I played it, and I'm thinking, like, when I heard, oh, I'm gonna rework the game. Oh, you know what'd be funny if you used the old blocky cats as like a placeholder, and you did it, even though you had the higher quality models. You used the goofy models, like not even the angry eyes one, the classic goofy cat, which is also
Oh, with like the really big eyes.
yeah, which is even where the Nunny TF emote came from, or the calling card that
Yeah.
Discord emote.
I'm so happy with that calling card though. The way that you did that, it turned out so well.
I don't know why I made it. It was just like, hey, you know, it'd be funny if you added this just to give some representation of the classic cat. And then just like a few minutes later, done, and you showed me a screenshot, and I'm like, oh, it's like I wasn't expecting you to actually do it, and then you did it, and I'm like, oh, what have I done?
I mean, to be fair, I immediately fell in love with it the moment I saw it. I was like, you know what? Yeah, that has to be a calling card now. Granted, though, it is a DLC calling card, but I mean, hey, it's probably one of my favorites to see every time it pops up. And there is a couple people who actually have used it before. I'm not sure who, but I have seen them playing the game every so often. I'll see it pop up. I'm like, oh hey.
I mean, it's my calling card.
But yeah, just seeing it pop up though is so fun because like, old cat.
To be honest, I just like the representation of the old cat, because it's like, because Cat Warfare, it's not a serious game, and
Yeah, no, it's not serious at all.
Yeah, and calling back to a time when it was even less serious, it's like a lot of people will probably have no idea, like, oh, why is this cat so low poly? Was this made for a joke or something? And some few people would even know what this cat is, and then it's like, oh, actually it was the original model in version 1, and they'd be like, wow, I didn't know that. And I do like bringing up the history of this game.
Oh yeah, the history of the game is always fun to go back and look on, because I mean that's even why I made the whole like Cat Warfare history blog back, like I think it was what, 2020. I don't even remember what year it was. It was 2023. So 10/17, 2023. Oh damn, it's actually almost coming up to being a year since I wrote that. But I actually went through from the very beginning of the concept of the game to from 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and then all the way to 23 is where it ended. And yeah, it definitely has been a fun thing to look back, and I'll even read it every so often, just to kind of remind myself. It's like, hey, this is where we came from. This is where it started.
It really is insane just how many memories even just I have with this game, and of course you, because you obviously made it. But me as someone who isn't really directly making the game, like I'm just basically just playing whatever you like. Sure, I might have a few ideas here and I give a few bug tests, but it's you making the game, and I'm just running around these blank maps in like the old version 1 alpha, and I'm just thinking, and when I say that, I'm running around in my head, because I'm just remembering like, oh, there's a ramp here, and I'm just seeing in my head right now completely blank dark grey walls, and I'm just imagining myself backing up, and I'm like, oh, just shoot me right now, I need to show you something, just shoot me. Okay then. And then just freaking out on the wall.
The Ragdoll freakout by far was probably the funniest thing that happened at the time, especially the fact that it just, not even I was expecting it either. That was the best part.
Yeah, I just found it, and I'm just like, wait, how do we do that? And we immediately tried replicating it. Every single time we find a hilarious bug, even to this day, whenever we find a hilarious bug, we immediately stop playing, and then stop playing properly, and immediately try to replicate it.
Yeah, it hasn't changed since.
It's like that time in that in the debug map when we found out the classic mistake of the walls not having back-faced collision or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's when we popped through the corner of the map and fell out of it.
I don't even think we were popping through the corner. I think we were just like clipping through the wall because we were running into each other and we were going past the boundary of the first collision, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like Breaking Cat Warfare is by far one of the most fun things that I've ever done. Because I'm not really an FPS kind of person. Like, the only kind of FPS that I like are, like, boomer shooters. It's like, you know, Doom and Quake and all that. I like Doom and Quake. But it's like, arena shooters, not really my thing. I mean, I'm not saying the game is bad. It's just not my thing.
I mean, yeah, everyone has their taste and what kind of games and stuff they like, but I will say Cat Warfare has been one of those special ones where even there's like for example, even with you, like there's people that don't really play games like Cat Warfare, yet I've seen them play the game, and like a lot of them even say it's like, oh, I don't really play first-person shooters that much, but as they're sitting down playing Cat Warfare, they're always talking about like, oh wow, this is actually like different. It doesn't take itself seriously. It doesn't try to be competitive at all, and it's just.
I mean, to be honest, you can go on. Sorry.
In general, it's just kind of play it the way you like, and just have fun with it.
I mean, to be honest, that was actually why I kind of gave you the idea to use like cat puns for the announcer voice, because for the previous two recordings, it was quite literally just Unreal Tournament. And that, well, not quite literally. It was literally me just recording Unreal Tournament lines, like double kill, multi-kill, triple kill. It was literally just re-recorded Unreal Tournament lines, nothing else. And so it's like, if you hear double kill, you think, okay, it's Unreal Tournament, it's Quake Champions, or Quake Deathmatch. It's every game with the double kill. But then it's like, you hear, it's like when Gianni freaked out, and Johnny's chat as well, they freaked out at Kitty Spree, especially the way I pronounced it as well, because for the chat that's watching this, at one point while I was recording the lines, like Danyan didn't give me, like, he didn't say, oh, could you redo that line? I personally thought, like, because I was here, I was like, Kitty Spree, that would be... Sorry, my voice is higher pitched now. That really hurts my voice to do. But I did that, and I was like, with the way that I say kitty, I say it as kitty. It's like, I am pronouncing the T's, but you can't hear it. It's like, I'm saying kitty. And in my head, I'm thinking someone who doesn't speak English as their first language may still hear that as killing, and I'm like, you know, you would have to do a double take on it. It's like, wait, was that kitty? So I was like, Kitty Spree, and it's like, Kitty Spree, that's genius. And it's like, everyone's like, like even Gianni loved it, and he laughed so hard, and I'm like, that right there, that is exactly the reaction I was expecting.
And the fact that he even tried replicating the voice every so often and would say, like, I remember in one of his streams, he even, because it was actually a bug that happened where when they were playing in the control game mode, when one of the teams won, it showed the Cat Warfare's banner, like the little banner for the calling cards, and it shows the banner of who's the top player on that team, which it